Our charge is to deal with food issues on all levels. We are currently just really getting going. We've developed some work groups. They're going to be launched with our summit this week, which is the powering up the local food system. And the 4 work groups that we've got going are healthy food access, community food justice, schools and institutions, and then the most popular one right now is the urban agriculture work group. What we're trying to do is we're trying to encourage new leadership in the city of Detroit, new activists as far as food issues, and to basically build up the ranks with this food fight that we're in.
All right. So this is Earthworks Urban Farm.
And you are?
My name is Shane Bernardo. I'm the outreach coordinator for Earthworks. So my responsibility is to do the PR and outreach for the farm here. Earthworks Urban Farm is a program of the Capuchin Soup Kitchen. The Capuchin Soup Kitchen provides meals, hot meals for the community. We serve about 2,000 meals a day between this location and another location, and the majority of what we grow here on the farm, I would say about 90% of it goes to our kitchen.
Clean off your lens. And I ran out of sticks.
High rates of internal problems such as cancer and other illnesses, diabetes, and then too there are a lot of economic issues going on right now that good food can help solve. One of the big popular things here in Detroit is our urban agriculture. Detroit has been a long-time hub of urban agriculture activities, even going back to the beginning of the 1900s with Mayor Hazen Pingree. He actually sold his own personal horses to encourage the urban agriculture. So we've been doing it for a long time.
We have tons of people that are asking for our stuff, but we don't have enough to harvest because it's taken so long to get things to grow this year. Yeah. So it's kind of stressful. You wouldn't think, growing stuff out in the country here, seems kind of like wonderful on the one hand, but it is really stressful.
We're the first and oldest organic farm in the city. We farm on about 3 acres almost, and we started in 1997 by a friar named Rick Salmon, a Capuchin friar. And one day he was at his desk and he was making a list, and because he wanted to start a garden for the soup kitchen, and on his list there were some food items, and a young man came up to him and he noticed what he was writing, and he asked Brother Rick what gas station he was going to get his food from, and this really stuck with Friar Rick, and later on that year Earthworks was born. And so
you might hear a lot, you definitely will hear the words food desert. Detroit has been deemed a food desert by a lot of people, but there are a lot of Detroiters who take issue with that because they feel that they do have good access to healthy food. Right here in our market where our offices are, Eastern Market is a wonderful access point to healthy food. But if you're a 70-year-old little old lady in the middle of winter at the other side of town, you don't have access. So there's a lot of things that go into it. And that's what
Detroit does not have a major chain grocery store, and because of that, the quality of food is inconsistent. And also within that, there's a high prevalence of low nutritious and highly processed foods here in our community. And so what that means is for a lot of folks is that sometimes we have to travel twice as far to get to a healthy food outlet than we do to go to a fringe food outlet. The fringe foods being those high caloric, high processed foods. So one, we're spending a larger amount of our income to meet our basic needs, and two, we're also suffering from a lot of chronic health conditions because of that.
What type of diseases?
like
mostly related to-
obesity, diabetes, hypertension, and things associated with those. The folks that live in our community suffer from a disparate amount of poverty and also issues stemming from poverty like chronic health conditions.
Già la sto filmando anch'io però.
Get another knife that's not one.
Make me hold my cheese too long. Are you recording?
Salad.
Yes, salad mix.
Why do you wash it?
Yes.
Yeah, we triple wash
This
it
is our
so we move
washing
it
station.
down along the line.
And then we put it in the
It's successively.
spinner. And then we learn it to mix it. The mustard greens with the red tip lettuce.
Volunteering here.
Well, actually, I'm a participant in the EAT program here, which is Earthworks agricultural training. And we get those skills needed if we desire to take whatever we learned in the program and start urban garden.
So what's the dream? What would you like to learn
well-
and put in practice?
Primarily just for initially for personal, and then of course community, family and community.
Would you like to get a job in this in agriculture?
This is because the necessity for people to eat is always an option. Not I don't want a job. I want to be able to work at a constant. So, taking all the skills that I have and be able to constantly work in those areas with necessity, and food being one, clothing and shelter. So
Yeah, you're from Detroit?
yes, born and raised.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what bring all these people here? They're all volunteers?
Primarily on Wednesday is our volunteer day. So if you see it, a surplus Wednesday and Saturday is volunteer day here at Earthworks. So
So you would like to go in other areas and expand this program? You like to go in other areas of the city and expand?
yes, we go into different areas also and help them start or cultivate their urban garden.
So you see an increase in the phenomenon in urban garden?
It's like Detroit is one of the biggest. It's like the nucleus for the urban farm movement right now. So people from everywhere come into Detroit to get information, skills, and just find out why it's such a big thing here in the city.
Because it sat on a truck for a week, so it's like it's a smarter way to do business. I mean, it's you grow your food close to home, you know. So that's kind of what we do. But we also grow things that just taste better, you know, like the purple greens here, and some of the other varieties that we grow. We make a salad mix, not just spinach and arugula, you know. Like a lot of restaurants still have spinach and arugula, but like our stuff, it's just so much better than what is out there. So,
When did you start it?
like how many years ago?
Yeah.
About 5 years ago. It was just a smaller area over there, and I doubled it every year because I just liked doing it. But now, like, I quit my job teaching. I mean, I love teaching, but I'd rather do this. So
And this was just a vacant land or a...
yeah, it looked just like that, but more trees were over here.
Huh.
So we tested all the soil,
Yeah.
made sure there wasn't lead, because you know these were. My mom's a chef, my brother's a chef, so this is my part of the family curse.
How many people work with you?
Well, I have 2 former students that run our table at the Eastern Market. Then I have about 5 people that help here. Some are paid, some are volunteers, and then some get food as a trade.
It was hard at the beginning.
It's hard now. much harder now because this is all, like when I started I was still teaching and I had that income coming in. But now it's kind of like survival, you know? Like, if this doesn't work, you know? If it doesn't work, I'm out of a job, you know? And I won't be able to afford healthcare or anything else, really. So that's why the pressure's on. It's why I also, I don't know.
So we have a host of programs to help address some of these concerns. One of those programs is Growing Healthy Kids, and this is a program for 5 to 11-year-olds to learn proper nutrition and actually where food actually comes from. That it doesn't come from a gas station, it doesn't come from a box, it doesn't have a real nice name brand on it. It comes from the ground, it comes from the earth. So it's a way for our youth to be engaged in healthy cooking and learn how to cook their own meals with locally grown produce. And then we also have another program for youth that grow out of that program called Youth Farm Stand. Youth Farm Stand is exactly what the name implies. Youth Farm Stand is for youth from ages from 12 to 17 to grow their own produce and sell it at market. So the youth in this program are building on the knowledge that they got in Growing Healthy Kids, but they're also learning entrepreneurship skills, they're learning leadership skills, they're learning communication skills and other soft skills that they can use in their academic lives, in their professional lives, and in their personal lives. So we're building leadership, youth leadership in the community around food security, okay? And then another program we have for adults 18 and older is called EAT, E-A-T, or Earthworks Agricultural Training Program. And this is a program to develop the agricultural knowledge and skills of adults 18 and older that want to enter the agricultural industry either as a career or as a business owner. Because it's not just a job readiness program, but it's also a business incubator. So for folks that want to start their own job or a business in the community, EAT is a way to do that. So whether you want to start a compost business to support some of the urban gardens in the area, we can help them do that. If you want to start your own herbal tea business, we can help you do that with locally grown produce.
Have you found out the hardest challenge?
Yeah, so the hardest challenge for us really is two big things. One is that the need is much greater than our capacity to address. Okay, we serve 2,000 meals a day. We could there are a lot more people that continue to go hungry, but they may not have access to transportation, they may be unemployed, so they can't pay for transportation. They may not have a car. If they have a car, they may not be able to pay for the gas. One of the stark realities of the situation that we're in is that folks have to make a conscious decision of whether or not they're going to eat that day or put gas in their car. And it's something that's really hard for me to swallow when we're trying to address this, but we only have so many resources and only so much capacity to do that. So we try to focus on the immediate community and try to change the outcomes for people by providing opportunities for folks to provide for their own basic needs. And then the other, I think, biggest challenge is probably the apathy that is in the community. There has been a long history of oppression here in the city. And to look at in the community and see the massive disinvestment and dispossession that has happened, you really have to take that into historical context and really understand what's going on. And it's really not a result of necessarily the people living here in the community, but some of the racist policies that has further marginalized and oppressed people that do live here and suffer from a lot of these issues like food insecurity and some of these health problems and economic insecurity and racial injustice. And some of those policies were in the 1950s. There was discriminatory mortgage lending and housing practices, which African Americans and other racial minorities weren't considered for, and so they were forced to live in urban areas, which insurance companies and mortgage companies redlined as high risk. So it costs a lot more to live in the city. So again, a lot of our income, a great amount of our income goes toward meeting our basic needs. And another thing is that those of our community, because of the color of our skin, we weren't able to move to outlying areas in the suburbs and own land and build houses and that sort of thing. So those folks that were able to do that, they were able to not only buy land but also amass a great amount of wealth. So you have the disparity between the concentration of poverty and also the concentration of wealth. And so somewhere along down the line, it became less viable for businesses like major chain grocery stores to operate here in the city because of the insurance, because of the taxes, and some of the other costs that go along with running the business here in the city. So the city doesn't have a major chain grocery store, and that's one of the biggest concerns for us because the quality of food in the community is very inconsistent. We do have independent groceries here. We do have some fabulous grocery stores here, but the quality of the food is hit and miss depending on where you're at. So